This is a story, this is a theory written by a man in the prime of his insanity, who managed to draw the conclusions between an innocent child's video game franchise and a serious topic on the reunification of the Italian provinces. Here were his last words before doing something extremely violent and unadvertising friendly to himself. This is a story of Mario and the parallels between him and the Italian reunification. Mario is, in fact, the coolest man on the club. He represents the gaming industry's whimsical side, the adventurousness of him. He wears red, he is plump, he is cool, he has a mustache and his own name imprinted upon his hat. He wears nicely cobbled shoes, he is geometric, and he has a nose that is very squishable. He even has a cool brother, Luigi, who is still but a caricature of Mario himself, with a more slick mustache instead of a big bushy one, a smaller, more rotund nose than Mario's oval one, and Luigi is thinner and smaller, looking like a tall green giraffe with a backwards L. Mario is much a cooler. Mario and Luigi fight the big bad, the not cool, the two villains Dinky King and Conky Dong. Conky Dong being a lizard with green face and big dragon mouth, and Kinky Ding being big monkey that screeches very loud. Monkey Ding can throw barrels, which is his only superpower. He is quite bland and has no further abilities, but Dinky Dink is able to breathe fire and calls himself by the name Bowser. Bowser is a reptilian being with large power, however hindered by his massive shell. The main reason I drew parallels from this and the Italian reunification was because of Bowser and Mario's significant attire. Mario is very obviously a stand-in for Giuseppe Garibaldi, the man behind the entire reunification process, while Bowser, also known as Kinky Dink, is the Pope, a greedy, lustful man of power and great influence. His Koopalings were the separate Italian states who stuck under his rule and would fight to the eventual end. Luigi also draws many parallels to Victor Emmanuel, who wears green and is long and stocky. However, Victor Emmanuel is also similar to Luigi in that he was coward-like and reluctant to the cause of unification. He was a self-serving man, knowing that it was likely he might die on such an expedition. Yoshi is the Count of Cavour, assisting these two on their adventures in the more diplomatic roles, bringing them across and assisting them in places where it would be too much of a stretch for them to continue. And of course, Dinky Dink the Monkey King is, in fact, France, who have been represented by monkeys because they're clumsy and bumbling fools. And there is even more to conclude to the story, for Dinky Dink has several games dedicated to his name, where he fights off a crocodile named Cronky King. Cronky King is an obvious representation of Africa, and his little crocodile subjects are in fact the African states. Cronky Donk is always defeated, for France was always greater than the stupidity of the African Cronker Donker. Also, another parallel is that France hoarded all the bananas. Bananas being all the power. Bananas were a system of power to the French. And Mario did not like this. Mario did not like this description of power. He did not like this hoarding of power. Like Garibaldi not liking how the French were being naughty and dumb. So when the French pulled out, Garibaldi was happy, for they had forfeited power, and the Dinky Dong had given back his bananas. And finally, our last parallel is Luigi's Mansion, determining and showing the curve of King Victor Emmanuel from a coward-like man to a strong, big man macho. Giving him the title of king at this point would have been worthy, for he was a great and brave man with big brain strategery. And at the end, Mario has become more obscure. He has been more outshined by Dinky Dink and Luigi, as Dinky Dink went through character development after fighting another incarnation of the Crinky King after losing to the Germans. And also Victor Emmanuel became more popular and Garibaldi became more and more useless after the Italians had reunified. This is my intellectual take on the Mario franchise. I hope you have appreciated it.